What's going on, VC? Vinyl Crow here, and I'm going to show you a bunch of pressings that I thought I would never get for good price, as well as in good condition. Playing condition, not mint, premium, like no one's used it, because it's not easy to find. It's not easy to find for a band this popular like the Beatles. Now, I got most of these, minus one. The rest I got from this one stand when I was at Moorabbin Record Fair. And I thought they just show them all in one video instead of the pickups of May, March. I just decided I haven't done them already, but might as well just make them their own video. And I'll show you them against my Australian pressings I've had for years that I will be getting rid of because they're essentially UK stampers being used, except for the covers are inferior. So I went to the Moorabbin Record Fair, as you know, I have told you in a previous video, and I actually paid extra for the early bird tickets, where usually they start at 10, I believe. I think it's 10 or 9, and you can get there but you can get those tickets at a half an hour earlier. Now, I paid for that twice. I've done it at this fair since it started. First time, I didn't really get any decent stuff that's amazing like this. But the second one, this is where I got just a whole pile. Let me just show you. Whole pile. Minus Please Please Me, I got from Minus Please Me, and with the Beatles. I got them from, I know, with the Beatles. So Minus Please Please Me, all of them were from the same stall. And pretty much I was looking at the place. As soon as I get in, I look, just quickly scan, and then I see, oh yeah, there's the regulars, the same few that go to all the fairs. And pretty much I know they'll have some good stuff. And then there's a seller I don't remember really seeing. And he just had this crate, this area that just said UK pressings. As soon as I saw that, I just went straight to there because something told me just go there, look through it. And I did. Glad I did. So, he had the first one I saw minus was this one. This one is Please Please Me. It's a dash 5, so it's not the dash 1, but I thought I might as well get a dash 5, just have listened to it until I find a dash 1. Because if you watch Polygram Auctions, he says that's actually the superior one, which I will see for myself if I find one. Now, I did find those, but I'm going to go in order of album, not in order of finding them. So this one I got after I found all of those, from a usual store. Now, this one is pretty much, this one's not in the best shape, but that's fine. I didn't want to pay crazy amounts because the other store that had those had one of these that was really mint condition, and it was just in the hundreds, and I'm not paying that much for this album because it has some good songs on it, like a few good songs, but this album as a whole, I just find is not as good. It's, I think, my least favorite of all the Beatles albums. Truth be told, this is when I like the Capitol first two albums because they actually combine some of the good tracks from this plus the singles. So, track listing wise, those are good, but Capitol's records sound like crap. So, I found this one. This one's not in the best shape. The back, if you can tell, it's a little brown and it's got some crap all over, some marker. I think it's a marker and a pen. Someone decided to do that. I don't know why. And the record has some wear, especially here, it's sort of coming off. That's it. And the disc, it had, thankfully, the guy put one of these in, but it had just a paper sleeve, which usually they come polyline. And the disc, it's actually pretty good nick, pretty good shape, minus a few spots, but it plays really good. Mainly side 2. I'd have to hunt for it, but there's a little there's a couple in halfway through Baby It's You, and I think no wait, hang on. PS I Love You has, oh here we go. PS I Love You has, the last half has a little pop that just keeps going, as well as the first half of Baby It's You, because there's a little scuff on it that causes it to do that. I can listen to it, it's playable, but I don't listen to those songs much. If I want to put it on, because I'll occasionally put this on and say, oh, I want to hear what they started out as, but really, the songs that I love off this album are I Saw Her Standing There, Please Please Me, Love Me Do, and Twist and Shout. That's really the songs I like on this. The rest are really, they're either covers, or really early Lennon McCartney, like Misery. That's really early, really cheesy. I just don't like it. I tried. You Beatles fans may love it, great, but this album, it's not one I recommend at all. What's going on there? Truck outside. Have you rumbling? There's some truck going on outside. I don't know what's going on up there. And I had this for years. The Australian one, which the cover is just really bad, very floppy. The disc is, I'd say, disc-wise, it's on par with the UK. The covers here we got in Australia, flimsy, floppy, and they're not laminated, so they're just in terrible condition. Yeah, thought blue was cheaper to do. And this one is the more common 4th pressing. There is an earlier one. This is my aunt's, so I got this for free. So I won't go too hard on it. But I do think the labels there, they just shoved way too many logos on there. Just way too many. So you got, yeah, all these different music, Canon music and the Australian. But it's made using, like the one I showed you, the UK, it's the -1N. So it's using an original mother. But this one's not the best playing. It's listenable, but it's got a lot of surface noise to it. But I've had it for years. It was a good start when my uncle and uncle on my mum's side had some records, and this is one of them. Okay. So now the next one. Yeah. So the next one I'm moving on. Oh, I should show you on the bottom. You can see it's UK there with Garrett and Lofthouse. There's other ones with Ernest J. Day. There's as well, and this one's a little later because it advertises stereo. So it's a later copy, and I believe I remember they don't say mono the earlier copies because that's all they had. So next one, which now this is all from the same stall. is with the Beatles. This one is using the -5N, which Polygram Auction says this is not as good as the -1N, which I'll put that to the test. Usually he's pretty right, but I'll hunt one of those down. But meanwhile, this was such a good price, I might as well start with this, and then if I find the other one, then I'll get that. This one has a bit of a wear, mainly on the top. Yeah, of course it's shiny. Back needs a tiny bit of a clean. And this one is advertises both the stereo and mono. Gary Lofthouse. Now, what you saw fall out, the paper, I don't know if you saw them. This though, these two that I got, these are from an Australian pressing I had. It was a 79 Rishi, and these were in it. So these were not a part of it. It's where Beatles first came to Australia. They're magazine clippings, and they came in '64. So those did not come with it. I just put them in there. So ignore those. So this is the actual inner sleeve that EMI used for a while. And they advertised their EMI text cleaner. And here's the actual disc here, which playing wise, it sounds amazing. But for some reason, someone decided to take a pen and just highlight in all the white, yellow, and Parlophone, and then instead of, because usually you just see the name, which there's a name. If it picks it up, it's Myra, and then there's in green D Cook. It looks like D Cox, something of that nature. But the other side just has Myra, and the Parlophone is not on that side, is not coloured in with pen. Of course, made in Great Britain, which is, if you see that, you're already off to a good start. And this, again, is the -5N. It sounds really good, I'll give them that. And I had listened to an original Australian -1N from a friend, which sounded fantastic. Ooh. So it's great sounding, great album. This one is definitely a better level than Please Please Me. I do play this a good amount. There are a few that's cheesy. That I would say, if you take out the few best tracks that I like on Please Please Me, put them on this, and this was nearly made this album, not Please Please Me, this would be a killer first album. So I just think this one's leaps and bounds better. It's a few songs that, again, the few songs that bring it down a teeny bit. You replace those with the strong songs on Please Please Me, you'd have a solid first album. Paper that's fluff. Okay. Yeah, those magazine clippings. I was surprised to see those in a 79 pressing, so someone kept them. And I got them here. And of course, the first two albums you want in mono. You do not want the stereo. The stereo I had of both, and they're really terrible. So, next one is Beatles for Sale. This one is an original, not a fourth, fifth. This is original, first cutting stereo, and this is only falling out because of it's a gatefold. See the stereo, and it's a really well mixed stereo. And of course, the UK one is a gatefold, which that's why the record was coming out. And the record would go in here. I can show you that, bending it. So it would go in here. Let me slide it in to show you. So unless the record it goes in there, which I'm not much of a fan of. I like the inside gatefold, but I don't know why you put them in here, because then it's hard to just protect it. And there's that side, which what we got on our cover, and this is my aunt's copy, we got this thrown together, and then the back from the UK. This is using the UK. And again, this one's mono. I got this, and it's plays alright, and the label, of course, is the same as what we got. It's using Australian. It's all UK others. So pretty much, but listening in mono is not compared to the stereo. And just look at that. Original. It does have a visible scuff, but it's not but it doesn't ruin playback, which I'm so happy about. There's only one pop or 2 pops on 8 days a week. So you just hear one loud pop, so that's the one thing I'd say I don't like about it, but for an old record, this plays amazing. And this has a polyline inner sleeve, but in here, but for some reason they ditched the writing on it. Now the way I put this, because of the way it's designed, and of course this has the ends a little squashed because of how it's designed. This one does feel floppy compared to the others, and that was good quality, the actual cover. But once it's in here, it's not that bad. Now, how I store it is I put the actual cover in its sleeve, and then I just insert it where the gatefold would open. So it goes in, like so, and there we go. And then when I take it out, because you can see it's kind of at the bottom, then if I do want to take it out and look inside the artwork, I take the disc out and then slide it out. So that's what I do on that. And I gotta say, it is a really good stereo. I just need to say it. If I haven't said it, I just need to say it again. It's a fantastic stereo present. I recommend getting it. So, next is Help. The original UK stereo. This is one where hearing the mono, it's not that good. Minus a couple tracks, mainly Yesterday being the runner-up, which I have a 45 of Yesterday. And this one is really clean. Cover's really good. And then even on the back, there's no dirt like the others. I need to clean with a Q-tip, thanks to Polygram showing how you clean them. This thing's just in really tip-top shape. Stereo. Yeah. And this is using the thick covers again. And then they went back to this. Just look at that. Look at that. Of course, the same Parlophone. There is a scuff on it, But when you feel it, it doesn't affect playback at all. So if it doesn't affect playback, I don't care. That's just me. Mainly I want to listen to these. Yeah, there'll be certain little things I'll collect, but that maybe just as an oddball collection. But mainly I play them. So I'm not too concerned because again, these were owned by majority were owned by teenagers and under. So if they're in this condition, it's a rarity, and I had managed to get them for decent prices. The only song I would say off this one for me is Act Naturally. I always skip that. And I just want to show you the one I had. This is a 70s stereo UK. So this was the first UK I ever got. I got this, I remember, along with Led Zeppelin 4, a UK reissue. Because this one, the one I had, was this. To the later box parlophone design. And I believe this is Harry Moss cuts. What are they using? I don't know. Oh, this is, I think, one where they use existing cuts already. But anyway, it's a good. This one is a good sounding copy. It's I in Audacity I ripped these two and heard them side by side. I do find they're very close. I think the original has a tiny bit more bass to it, as well as just the highs and everything just sounds a tiny bit more open soundstage. If these are cheap, but these are cheaper to get. So if you find these, pick them up. I believe these are used in the box set, at least the UK one. This looks like it's part of the blue box. So, next, stereo rubber sole. Now, I will say the stereo mix sort of some songs lean back to Please Please Me with the Beatles. This one, for some reason, doesn't bother me as much. I will get a mono. I want to hunt down a good mono just to have both, hear what it sounds like. But this one sounds amazing, of course. I'll try to show you. This one's in pretty good shape, minus a little bit of ring wear and stuff up there. And on the back, and this one actually has started using a different inner sleeve where it says here, important. And it just goes through the basics on taking care of your records. And on this one, the polyline thing was coming off, so I had to put a inner sleeve in there to fix it up. There it is. Label. And of course, this has bits of visual wear, but this thing plays fantastic. Generally, I do find I play rubber sole and on. I just find it, I think, is ones I mainly play, as well as Beatles for sale. I try to listen to all of them. Yeah. And the one I had for years was this original Australian, which I found for $20 in a place in Kyneton. And the back looks really good. front, you compare the two, it looks a little more orange and different. This is the UK, this is the Australian. See, they have a different look to them. Now, this one's an original Australian, so this is what it looks like. We use the silver. We use the silver version of the, and these looks like the gold on Please Please Me. So we use this for stereo releases here in Australia. The first two albums, these actually did come in gold. So if you see a gold Please Please Me, if it says made in Australia, if it's Australian, it's original Australian. Of course. So don't be fooled if you see gold on a Please Please Me, because I've seen a few where they say original rare gold, please please me, and it's just an Australian one that's easier to get than the real gold that's the money one that's not as many made. They both use the same stampers. They both sound good. I almost bought that copy, but it was just too scratched up. So heads up if you, and of course the cover on this is floppy. They did go laminate. So if you find gold Please Please Me, just check that it says, that it doesn't say made in Australia on it. Because you'll see usually on the bottom, they'll tell you made in New South Wales. And this one sounds not too bad, but you can tell it has been loved, especially Michelle, and has a bit of noise to it. And Drive My Car skips. And I had another pressing before that of a late 70s that had skips on Drive My Car. The UK one here I have, it skipped once at first. I did do a bit of a clean and doesn't do it anymore. So next up, Revolver stereo. Oh, I'm blocking it. This one was a little bit more pricey because of the condition, but I love this album. Absolutely love it. I'm gonna hunt down a mono for sure. And this one has see it, mainly some things there. Correct. And the back. And this one I had to put an inner sleeve on because the polyline was just coming off. Now I will say with this one, this side, I don't know if it's just a bit of fog or something. I might clean it because it has a bit of a lot more surface noise than side 2. Side 2 plays great. It's just side 1 has a bit of surface noise. I'm gonna have to check that, but I might clean it just to see what it does. But, and the label. This one's an original, of course. Absolutely love this album. I will say, out of the two George Harrison sitar songs, Love You 2 is at least a little bit better than Within You, Without You. So, great album. I love this one. But the one I went with for years, well, I had a 2009 remastered digital edition that was like $25. I got on special. But then I got this one, which is an original stereo Australian copy. This one was, at that time, the most expensive record I bought, around $60, which even then was a steal compared to what they go for. I reckon in this one, cover, okay, of course we started being glossy, but it's a little thicker. Again, and they're just not strong. But of course it uses the same label. This is just mint. There's a couple pops on I'm Only Sleeping, but this thing does play amazing. What? And this one though feels a little different. Corners feel a little sharper. But it did play fantastic. And I held on to this for a long time. But now I'm getting rid of it because I've got an original UK. Even though it's got a tiny bit more surface noise, I think I'll go with that. Because the original UK, I think, even I've compared them side by side, it just sounds a tiny bit more than this one. Next up is Sgt. Pepper, which, and this one's stereo, so that's why I got this cheap, because everyone wants the mono. I will find a mono. I'm trying to find either a 80s mono that they made, that Steve Moss, Harry Moss made, and then the 2014, but the 2014, they're impossible to get for good money, for a decent price. I don't know why, of course, I get into it now then when they're harder to get. Because back when you could get them, oh, it's stereo, screw that. But after a while, I'm slowly opening up to also the mono. So a bit of both. So, but we've got the, but I'm still loving the Giles Martin up here. The Giles Martin I got up here, as well as the White Album. I just love the way they're done. And this one, just really good shape. And I can't show you the Australian one. I wish I could. I got that for a few dollars off Savers, and it was worn. This disc played alright. The cover was not as good as this. And the cover pretty much is this. Australia got the UK to make a whole bunch of covers because we can do gatefolds. So a lot of Australian ones after the original were not gatefolds. Open these carefully. So if you get all these, if Australian has these gatefolds, it's a UK cover. Because I felt those covers felt a little better than the Australian ones. And, of course, the record here in the psychedelic sleeve, and the record, which is in mint condition, just plays amazing. And where's the, there we are. And it has, of course, all the extras uncut. Because I've seen ones that have bits missing or they're not in there at all, like my pressing didn't have them. But now I got them all complete. So I've got it all complete. Record's in good shape. And I do like the stereo copy of this too. I think a couple of the later ones, I do like how they have the mixes are different and actually have cool stuff in it. Good stuff in them that stereo doesn't have. So I'd say with this, I'm going to go for both. And it's an album I always end up listening to, of course. And my original Australian, the label looked exactly like Revolver and Rubber Souls, where it used the silver version of the gold label that the UK used. That's pretty much that. Now this one is not UK, but it's German. Right there. This is a club issue I saw on Discogs, and it pretty much emulates the same cover as what the Capitol and everyone else got with Magical Mystery Tour. I was wanting to get the one with the cool custom art, but I saw this pop up on Discogs and it was in fantastic shape, so I just got that because it's used. And the reason why you want to go with this, if you don't know, the last 3 tracks, Penny Lane, Baby You're Rich Man, and All You Need Is Love. Everywhere else, fake stereo. This copy, real, actual, true stereo. And all analog. You can get the 2009, 2012 pressing that you can get, all digital. But if you want analog, it's either this, and I believe there's Encano Capital in the late 80s did a reshoot, but I guarantee those are from the 1987 mixes, which, okay, you can go with those. I think that's a better bet than 2009, but I recommend just get the German ones. They press their records really good. This is a really good, well-made cover. The only difference is it's not a gatefold and it just has the back, the lyrics, and it has paper in a sleeve. This one, though, doesn't say Hertsuit on it. It says it's Apple label. It has that club. I'm going to butcher it. Sonderrecht Flug. Yeah. So if you see that, as well as or Hertzu, those are usually the Germans, the German version. But the side you want, side 2, the Matrix. Let's see it. Pull it out. They have it. I think it's B-free. Man, they really put it small here. Yeah, B-free. So I think it's the B-free Matrix on side 2. And that's where the last 3 tracks are in true stereo. And that sounds amazing. Now, I had this for years. This is a $10, and for $10. Spine back is screwed. The booklet, it's in there, but it's not stapled in. But I can see the booklet. It's an Australian copy made from US stampers, and for some reason the Apple looks a lot different just on this one. I've only seen this Apple one look different. The back looks almost the same, but it looks a little different, and this has a slight little bump in it, so if your needle's too light it will skip. But this sounds really good, I'll give it that. For a $10 copy, it does sound really good. But of course, fake stereo. We also had the first ones we got were not made by Apple. They were made by Specialty Records Club. It was some record club we had here that was all hi-fi sounding, and it had a strobe disc, and it was called Magical Mystery Tours and Other Delightful Tunes. But the cover art is essentially from the one in this book. So down. So as you can see, it's coming apart. It's just broke off cover, and here's the book. Find you the cover. There we go. So Australia's one we used. It was a single cover, and we used that. And it had Magical Mystery Tour and other Beatles tunes, I believe it's called. But you have everything in here. It's just came off. So, as you can see, as a closer view, on just even when the record's in here, the record can come out through this way when you pop it in here. So it's not in the best shape, but the record's there. It's in pretty good. I can see everything. All right. So occasionally you get pieces that shred off. It's a shame, but $10, I won't complain too much there. So what I do, I take this German copy, and I take this cover, and I just pop it in. There we go. So, and I take it out. There we go, I got the book, I've got everything. Not in best condition, but still works. And I put that in its sleeve, and it sits in my collection here. Now, I keep the German copy in its sleeve. Which is a little bit harder to get in, but there we go. And then I just put this, I have a few collectible records, and this just sits in there in the back room. And then this, I'm going to just sell this. I'm selling just a disc. And this is not desirable, it's just an Australian copy. Really, it's fake stereo. It's really not good. And the cover's not in the best condition, so someone can have this and replace, maybe they got a great cover, but the disc is terrible. So they can buy that. So next and last is Abbey Road. Now I had an original Australian, but of course, like Sgt. Pepper, I sold it. Someone wanted those two in a Facebook group, so I said, hey, I've got 2 good original Australians. Here you go. I sold them for decent money because I got those cheap. So I made money off all the stuff I sold. And this UK is just amazing. And of course, they use the record token notice. Here's the apple. That's the actual apple, not on the Magical Mystery Tour where it used a different cover. Just plays amazing. And of course, the Giles Martin did that one. But it's an album where I still like both. I still like listening to both. But the main one I listen to is the Giles one. I do find it has improved. The Let It Be one, of course, is, I don't know. I don't notice too much on that one. Especially when I listen to Let It Be Naked, which I find is much better. So that's Abbey Road. Now, I don't have White Album, of course. Nor Let It Be. I'll hunt it down. But I want to get a good White Album. So I don't have that. But I have, I forgot I had in here. This is the New Zealand copy and it's got both discs in here that I saved from water damage. That was in that pile because I'm selling them. So that's pretty much my vinyl collection for my UK Beatles so far, with one, and then the one German. Thought I'd throw in there. They do sound amazing. I do recommend hunt them down, but of course, not many will be over here because you have to import them. So hopefully, if they're imported, they're in good shape or in decent prices. Even if you want to get them through Discogs, but I just find it's not really good to get used records online. I had to with COVID and with the lockdown, as well as I just don't find them here. Like with the Dolly Parton stuff, which will be in another video, my Parton pickups. I'm waiting for another thing to arrive, and then I will be doing that video. So stick for that. But I just ended up buying a few of them online because I don't see them here. But generally, if I can go to a lot of fairs, I try not to get used stuff online because you can't see the record, you can't see the condition, can't check what pressing it is because sometimes they can lie or don't mention it at all. But I haven't done it with Beatles yet, but I almost would have. But I found these, and they sounded great. And if you want to know the good pressings, polygram auctions, watch his videos. I just need to give a shout out to him. He does great work showing you what ones are good, what ones are not. He's done even one about Australian copies, the ones he's able to show. He does really good videos, especially some of the stuff he finds and picks up to sell for auction. Crazy. So, like, comment, subscribe. If you want to follow me on Instagram, it's pinballcrow98. I'll post whatever there. Mainly it's pinball arcade stuff. I'll try and post some vinyl stuff on there. And I'll see you a lot. See you guys on the next video. Oh, and I thought I'd show you. My other Beatles thing is right up there from the pinball machine. I'll show you that. Yeah, I'm a Beatles fan. So, see you next time.